life, love, relationships.
Wait, we're gonna give away all our secrets?
Welcome to the Man Perspective
With Kane Man.
and the Dawn. All right, welcome to the Man Perspective. And today we have a special guest, our producer. The producer is in the building here on the Man Perspective. Say what's up there, the producer.
What's going on, people in the building?
All right, all right. Now, today's topic is the danger zone. Women between the ages of 27 years old to 34 years old. That is known as the danger zone. What do you guys think about dealing with a woman in that age from 27 to 34, the danger zone, because they're just as they're young, but not young enough, but old and too old to maybe bear children. So 27 to 34, usually they say if you're 30, it makes bearing a child a little, difficult. So if you was planning on marrying a woman and having a family, that would be a little too old to be dealing with a woman in that age grade. Anything over 30 and just a little under 30, the danger zone. What do you guys think?
Wait. All right. So I may need some education here. Clarify this for me. What exactly is the danger zone? Here at the Man Perspective, we take our caffeine addiction seriously. So if you can, to help support production of the show, buy us a coffee.
Hey, can you buy us a coffee? I'm getting kind of thirsty here. Buy us a coffee. Let us know that you really appreciate what we're doing here at the Man Perspective. All right, the danger
I have not heard
zone.
this term.
Yeah, the danger zone is women who are between the ages of 27
Mhm.
and 34. So if the woman is 29, 30, 32, 33, usually when you deal with a woman around over 30, and if you planning on having children with her, it's danger. That's the danger zone. Why? Because she may be a little too old to bear children. Now, women who are 27, they're looking at that number 30 because they're only but 2 or 3 years before they turn 30. And they know once they turn 30, it's a wrap as far as, them bearing children. But at 27, a lot of times women tend to wait when they dating. Like they'll say, you know what, I want to know a guy for like 2 or 3 years before I get married and this and that. So if you're 27 and you're talking about waiting another 3 years or trying to get to know this guy for the next 3 years, guess what? You're 30, and 30 comes up quicker than you think. Now you're 30. Now you're ready to get married and have a kid. And guess what? Having a child at 30, 31, 32 can sometimes be a difficult age to bear children. So they're known as the danger zone, 27 to
Gotcha.
34. So what do you think about that? Would you date if that's what you wanted? If you want to date a woman who's you want to bear children, usually most guys want to date a chick who's 24, 23, 25, a little younger because she could bear a child. But once you hit 30 and above, nah, she's in that danger zone.
Well, from my standpoint, I'm not really trying to have kids, so I'm good with whatever.
Okay. That's
I'm
a fair
simple. I don't
assessment.
know.
That's a fair assessment. What about you to produce?
From my perspective, that you're talking about two different danger zones. So if you're talking about the biological danger zone, you're really talking about from like 38 to 40, where when a woman tries to bear children, she has a higher aspect or ability to produce a child with a deformity, go through a miscarriage, something like that. When you're talking about the danger zone of a woman panicking, that's where you're talking about the 26, 25, 26, just coming out of college up till, pushing 30s, early 30s. And then in those years, you're also talking about a chick that, talking about young mid 20s wise, 25 to 26 of she's just now out of college. She's just now really trying to find her. Maybe she didn't even go to college. She's just trying to find herself, her way of life. She's coming into speaking. She's realizing what she wants. She's having a greater outview on life.
Yeah.
As she
And that's the
pushes her
thing.
30s, and that's when she's determining. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's the thing. There's two different danger zones. Yeah. When they're 27, 28, they're looking at the big 30, right? Because they say, oh, wow, I'm going to turn 30. I don't have a man. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. So they're in panic mode. You're absolutely right. They're definitely in panic mode. When they become 32, 33, 34, they're still in a panic mode, but they're wondering like, I haven't met anybody. Or even if they did meet anybody, the chances of them having a child at 34, 35, not to say they can't, but it becomes more and more difficult. They become what they call that danger zone.
Yeah,
And
but
most guys don't want to touch a woman around that age.
And there's the aspect of it, because you're talking about the danger zone of a female panicking, where she
Correct.
needs to get to the point where she's just now finding herself. She needs to reproduce. She needs to do this in the aspect of life. Then you're
Correct.
talking about the danger zone for men. The danger zone for men at that point would be, like you said, okay, you get to 32, 33, 34. Oh no, you a different type of crazy. I gotta worry about why no other dude wanted to touch you. Or if another dude wanted to touch you, why that dude didn't want to have nothing to do with you? Why he didn't stay with you? Why didn't he keep you?
Right. That's right.
Your mental aspect wasn't there.
Well, for guys, it's different because there's guys who's 40, 45 who are single and childless. Okay. And there's no biological clock for us per se. But for women, that biological clock sits at 30 and beyond and above. Because once they hit 30, they know it's all downhill from there. They are 30, 31, 32. You're single, no male prospect, no prospect for getting married. And guess what? It becomes more and more difficult for you to be a child. And so now in the dating scene, because now in the dating scene, what happens now is, like you said, you meet this chick who's 33, 34, 35 even, 36, and she's single, no kids. First thing comes to your mind is, well, she's a different type of crazy. Why nobody knocked her up? Why she don't have any kids? She should have had at least 2 or 3 by now. Why she never, got pregnant? What's the deal with that?
And that's how men are going to view it. And that's
Right.
how I would view it too. Is why
Right.
don't you have a significant other? And that's across multiple cultures and multiple beliefs and multiple everything. It's like, why are you so far along in your life? Well, now with today's women, where they, want to wear the pants and everything,
Right.
they want their professionality, they want that career, they want whatever. So they're waiting further and further in life. Well, you're waiting further and further in life, but you, like you said, you have that clock. We do not. And as men, we're looking for that younger, vibrant individual.
That's right.
To pair our lives with, because we didn't want to settle down, or maybe some of us did, and we got to that point in our life, and maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. Whatever you want to draw straws. Right. But at the end of the day, is we don't have that biological clock. As men get older, they're looking for something to keep them up in the paces, in this and that. Women are trying to do the same thing, but they have that clock, and their clock is ticking. And in most men, once you break 30, most men are going to look at you as you're a different type of crazy. Why are you not settled down? Why did you not have any kids? Why did you not have anything else? Then when they get to the aspect of 34, 35, 36, it's going to be, well, she had kids, she had this. We don't want nothing to do with her. So women have that boundary of attraction and disattraction, because their time period is really of 3 to 4 years. You're really looking at 28 to 32. If she's not settled down by then, or she already settled down, she settled down too early and picked the wrong fucking guy. if she settles down too late or tries to have kids, she's probably never going to have them and going to die alone or be by herself for a while.
Right. But
Maybe God takes a chance, maybe he doesn't.
Hmm.
let me ask you a question. Don, let me ask you a question. If you're with a girl, and of course, if, you know, you don't want to have kids, and that's fine,
Yeah.
and you're with a girl who's 35, 36, 37, a little older than you or what have you, and she
Yeah.
doesn't have any kids, do you think something is wrong with her that she's waited this long without really getting involved with anybody, like getting married, having kids, settling down? Like, what's your thought process on that?
Well, I'd have to talk to them. If I didn't talk to them and I'm just like, making an assessment based off face value, um, either you're not interested in having kids, you haven't found someone that you want to have kids with, maybe you don't like kids, maybe you were career focused and figured you'd put it off till later. I don't know. I'd really have to talk to that person to get a sense of where their head's at, to like make an educated assessment as to, okay, this is why, or likely why. Listen, we'll be right back. I got to change my mask and use a gallon of hand sanitizer, and then I'm going to come back and we'll get right back into it.
I think that when you're drawing straws as a woman nowadays, you have to make a choice. You either want children in the family, and if that's the case, you have to pick it at a young age, or
True.
you settle for a career or something, and ultimately you make the choice of, is somebody going to want me down the road? Is a man going to tolerate this faculty in me of not wanting kids? And then is he going to look at me a different way because I chose that career path or something versus family path?
But let me ask you something. Isn't it the dream of most women, as they say, or that fairy tale of, getting married, white picket fence, having kids, and all that good stuff? Don't most women want to get married? Because if you ask most women, do you want to get married? Oh yeah, I love to get married. It's okay. You
But
got three,
but
four
but
kids, and you're not. So what happened?
it's exactly what you said. That fairy tale. That fairy
Yeah.
tale of a lie that said that they can have everything under the sun, but also it's the fairy tale of the lie that today's society pushes, that if they get, if you don't need a man, and if you want to get ahead, then you have to go the career path. So then ultimately it pushes the narrative that they have to make a decision, because men aren't going to wait.
We don't
I'm
have
not
to
going to
wait.
wait for I'm not going to wait for you if you want a career path and I want children and I'm
Right.
29, 30, 35 years old as a man.
Right. We don't have to wait.
I don't, yeah, absolutely. I don't have to wait. None of us have to wait. So then as a woman, you have to make that decision. And that's a choice that women made, you know, at whatever time you want to call that, whether that was women's rights movement or whether that was, today's society of, feminist movement, or whether you
Right.
combine them in as a whole, whether you call that the 90s woman or whatever you want to call that. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately because they made a decision to, I want something different, or I want something better for myself, or whatever you want to call that. And in the process of that, they expect men to sit around and wait for them to
Right.
whatever they decide what they really want.
Right.
But as a man, as a young man, you know what you want out of life. You might not know your career path. You might know exactly, you might have, oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a cop. I want to be a firefighter, whatever else. But at the end of the day, most men want a family. And the reason that most men want a family is because biologically, we want to sow our seeds.
Right.
I want to, I want to sow my seed inside you, and I want to have children, and I want my children to have grandchildren, and I want my family name, and I want my everything that I worked for to mean something.
Yeah. Now you know what's interesting? Like where I live, right? Um, there are about, I would say, 8 to 10 guys that live near me. Right? We all have our own houses. own our own, own our cars, own our house, got great jobs, right? And out of the 8 guys, I would say 2 of them has ever been married. Myself, I've been married, and another individual been married. But the other 8 guys, they're single and childless. And their age range from, I would say, 40, 45 to maybe 52, 53. And what's interesting is they all tell me the same thing. I got my act together. I got my own house. I got my own car. But I can't seem to find a woman to marry and have kids, even at that age. They're single and childless. And from what they're saying now, it's like overall, it's like at least 50% of men, and not just men across the board, are single and childless. And so when you deal with a woman who's in that danger zone, 28, like you said, 30, 33, 34, and I asked them, I say, well, you 45. Would you date a woman that's 45? No. You know why? Because they want to meet a woman who's younger, right? Below 30, who's at the child rearing age. Is there anything wrong with that?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Because they said, hey, if I date a 45-year-old woman or a 50-year-old woman who's older than me, it's nothing she can give me. What can she give me that she hasn't give to any other man?
But see, that's like me personally. Okay, man. And all my life, I always liked older women. Now that I'm becoming an older man, I look more towards younger women. And I'm not talking about too younger of a woman.
Right.
Because I still want her to match my intellectual value or be able to have that conversation or have something in common with me.
Correct.
But instead of me looking for a woman that's 5 years older than me or something like that, because that's my main, all my life, that's been my main thing, because I felt I was more entwined with her and whatever, because she was more mature or whatever at that standpoint. Right. Now I look for a younger woman from the same aspects, because they're more vibrant or they have more energy, where a woman that's at my age now, that's 5 years older, is basically doesn't want to do anything.
Right. I get that.
They're not as energetic.
They're set in their ways, of course, and there's nothing for them to work hard at. They already got you. Hey, I got you. What more do I need to do? Whereas a younger woman is always going to want to stay vibrant, always want to stay, young in a sense, and be around and be pleasing in a sense, because they know the competition gets tough out there, and they're willing to compete. Don't get it twisted. A lot of these younger women will love when they date an older guy. They know that they have to compete, because they got to compete with women who are even younger than them, right? And so if you like her and she's 20, 26, what's to stop a 24-year-old coming through, or a 25-year-old who's even a year younger, but, has a little bit more energy or a little bit more sexy, as they say, in a grown way. And it's just pleasing to an older man to see that than to sit there and look at a woman who's 50, 60 years old. That's above your age,
Now from the aspect of those men that you were talking about that live around you, that are older men, and they're like, well, I can't, I want to date these women, or I'm looking for this and that or whatever in my relationship, but I don't have. That's a man that's actually settled.
Correct.
That's a man that sat there and waited around for a woman that wanted their career, or wanted this, or wanted whatever you want to call that. Absolutely. Whatever label you want to call that nowadays.
Absolutely.
And he settled. And now he's probably going to spend most of his life, or if not the rest of his life, alone. And the reason for that is because he decided, you know what, I'm going to have a different value than a traditional value in life. But now I'm going to die alone, because I sat around and I waited. I went against what my what my manhood said. I went against what I was taught. I went against everything else, and I tried to conform to the, the '90s woman standard, for lack of a better.
Right.
And now I'm in the same boat as them.
Right. But it's the same thing, because what happens now, the women who messed around when they're younger years, right? Bypassed all the guys who could have been suitable mates, right? To marry, to have children with, right? They played around, party, did this and that. Now they get over into the danger zone, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And what's the next number that they looking at? 40. The big 40. They're in the danger zone. Now they sit back and say, "Yeah, I wanna get married, but you're 38, you're 39. I don't know what guy's gonna look at you as a 40-year-old woman with no kids, right? And you're not young at heart anymore. You're not feminine anymore. You're not sexy anymore. You know what I mean? You're not. And don't get me wrong, there are some nice, you know, older women who are 40, 45 who look attractive and so forth, but they still have to compete with
And
the younger generation.
That's a different danger zone, my brother.
Right.
And the reason that's a different danger zone, to explain it to these gentlemen out here, is because that danger zone comes with bitterness, heartbreak, and everything else. So now you have a woman who has been looking, she's been promised the princess life all her life, the Disney fairy tale, if you will. And now once she hits that 40, the 35, 40, 45 years old, she's angry and bitter because she chose the wrong career path for herself. Not saying financially in a career, being out here in the world as a professional. I'm saying the wrong career path as a family. Because now she's looking, she might have made her money and did this and that, but now she's looking for that family element. And that family element's not going to be there. And the men are going to be more judgmental, and the men are going to be more standoffish. Yeah. And that's ultimately going to make her very bitter. And then when you enter into a relationship with said female from that characteristic, ultimately what you're going to get is nothing but animosity, nothing but hatred, nothing but, belittling, nothing but a constant argument and failure in your relationship. And it's not going to work. And that's going to leave, younger or older gentlemen to become bitter themselves, get locked up, get charges, or get something else. And then if you do somehow manage to have that relationship, and you do somehow, she wants a kid and you try to give that to her, whatever, now you're walking into those miscarriages and other type of problems because of her age and boundary set. Because, women are only, fertile basically up until 38, 40 years old. Everything after that is pretty much downhill or a high risk pregnancy.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it. What about you, Don? You have any reservations in dating a woman in that danger zone? I mean, even though she don't want any kids, but does something come across your mind that, hey, maybe she's a different type of stupid, or maybe she's just a different type of, different type of crazy? I mean, what's going on?
I mean, since like having kids isn't on my radar, I'm not really looking for like a mother of my children. I'm looking for a partner in crime. I'm looking for someone that is going to be by my side and is going to work hand in hand with me to take over the world. So for me, like, I'm looking actually more for that person who did forego wanting kids and a family and was motivated and driven to complete some goal they set out to complete, whether that be in the career world, climbing a corporate ladder, or starting their own business, or something of that nature. Like, that's what I look for. Like, I'm 30, what am I, 38? I've dated a woman that was 48. And I mean, it was a good relationship. It wasn't meant to be forever. It played its time. But we had great time together. So
are you looking for one that's more settled, or just older, or like you're settled? I mean, you got what you got, and You're looking for woman who got her own assets and can really add to what you want, or she has to be a step above you in a sense. Like, of course,
I,
everybody like to marry the rich woman if you can. Why not?
yeah. I mean, no, I'm not looking for a step above me. I'm looking for mostly being on the same page.
Okay.
Just being driven, motivated, and you know what you want out of life. And if you cracked that code, we could talk, because that's where I'm at. Like I'm trying to like build an empire, not
Right.
have kids. Like,
Right.
and not to say it's a
And
bad
that's
thing. It
fine.
just doesn't work for me.
Right.
It doesn't work for
And
my plan. So
right. And that's fine. But at the same time, does she have to be stable in that setting to be comfortable enough to say, "Hey, I've lived my life. I did, I just want to live." You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like that's what I want. I want someone who
You know,
just wants to share their life with somebody and is happy doing that. You know,
because what I don't understand is, and I always tell some of these women, you know, two incomes is better than one. You're
every day.
single as a woman, you know what I mean? You're living in your apartment, you're struggling, you're paying bills, you got to pay the car note, you got to pay your rent. Wouldn't it make sense, or just logical sense, to say, you know what? I need a man going to help pay some of these bills. I need a man when I come home, I can rub up against, you know what I mean? And be with, get that hug, get that squeeze, you know?
Yeah.
Just, why is it so difficult for women to just want to be with men, and just knowing that having a man will relieve a lot of the issues that you have. But instead, you wait to the danger zone to figure that out. Like, they'll wait to when they're 45, 50 and realize, wow, you know what? I have no kids. I'm single. I'm still single. And I ain't got nobody.
I think that a lot of the time comes from a place of being scared,
Mm-hmm.
not really, or perhaps not knowing exactly what you want at the time, so you put it off.
Right.
And if you're scared, you put it off for those same reasons. You're scared, and then when you finally do realize what you want, it is later in life. Not a bad thing. You can still make it work. But yeah, I do think in the zone that you're referring to, that danger zone, I think it's a lot of panic, and because people tend to look at what other people around them are doing, and then they
Yeah.
judge themselves, right? Like, oh, well, my best friend Susie, she's 27 and she's having her second kid, and I haven't had any yet. So, oh my God, like I got to make moves. I always say never judge yourself based on another person's journey, because you're not on their journey, you're on your own journey. Like, you do what you're ready to do when you're ready to do it. That's why you're you and Susie is Susie. But I think that's a big part of the panic, is people constantly seeing what others around them are doing, or quote unquote accomplishing.
Well, I think they just been lied to. I mean, the previous generation, you know, told a lot of these women, hey, go out. You don't need a man. Get yourself an education. The hell with a man. You good.
You know what that was? That was the setup for the failure. That's what
Right.
that was.
And guess what? These are the years that they're failing, because now they
Yeah.
realize they're in the danger zone, right? They're in that age bracket, 37, 38, 39, single, no man, no children. And they're sitting there saying, how did that happen?
Yeah.
How did
I mean,
this one wanted to marry me. And, I even when I talk to some women, and they say, yeah, well, I had about 3 or 4 proposals. Yeah, but you don't have a ring on your finger. I don't care about those 3 or 4 proposals. Right. The hell does that mean? So what?
You know what I
You ain't get married. When you get married, talk to me. You ain't been married. 4 or 5 proposals. Those are woulda, coulda, shouldas. And guess what? You didn't. Now what?
True.
You know what I'm saying? The hell good is that?
Right.
But they brag about that. But now, like I said, they're in that danger zone now when you're 40, 45, and you say, damn, I had about 6 engagements. Yeah, but none of them married you. You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like you didn't hold on to getting married. You, whatever reason, and you asked them, well, what happened? Oh, I broke it off, this and that. Okay, if you broke off those 6 engagements, then marriage wasn't in your proposal.
You know what I have to say to this?
What's that?
Is that in all this conversation from a man's perspective,
Mhm.
is that to all these ladies out here that think at the end of the day, all hope is lost and they have to be angry and bitter, they should probably listen to this podcast right here and listen to
Mhm.
what the Don had to say, because the Don is one of them gentlemen that still is willing to work with you.
Right.
He's
That's
that
true.
rare diamond in the rough that you ladies are looking for.
Look past.
Mhm.
Look
Get
past.
at
Because
me.
he said he's looking for something different. You're looking for all the wrong men. He's one of them men that's sitting there willing to turn around. You had that career, you had those things, and that's what he's been looking for the whole time. He just said it, ladies. So where you're looking for the wrong men, holla at the Don.
Well,
Get
hey,
at me.
you know what I say. Get at us at themanperspective@gmail.com. Send us an email. Hit us up at themanperspective@gmail.com, and maybe we can hook you up with the Don.
Maybe we can.
He's available. He's out here.
Like,
He's steady.
follow, subscribe.
That's right. Like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell, and do your thing. All right? On the Man Perspective.
Fellas, are you tired of sitting at the holiday dinner tables having to answer questions as to why you are not in a relationship? Well, we can solve that problem. Tune in to The Man Perspective with K-Man
And the Don. Hey, this is the Man Perspective, and we want you to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, so that you get the latest episode when we post it.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you always get the latest episodes of The Man Perspective with K-Man and the Don.
Now you heard our perspective. It's time to hear yours. Get at us at themanperspective@gmail.com.
Or use the hashtag The Man Perspective.